And we're the Disruptors. Hey, welcome to the show. I'm so glad that you were able to get out of your wheelchair and get through the door.
Oh, that's nice of you. Yeah, I appreciate the handicap parking spot you have out.
Well, it's just for you.
It's only down the hill and 3 blocks over. That's so much closer than you had me before.
The doctor said that you needed exercise, Bill.
Whatever.
You know,
Doctors
it's better than having, the paddy wagon pull up like happened last time.
No, that was last time. That was a mistake. Anyway, we need you to, it was a small paddy wagon. We need you to introduce, because we have somebody that knows art, which is really cool. And
I love the individuals that we get to come on the show because they are so amazing.
They are, aren't they?
They really are.
And really, when you actually give them back their car keys and unlock the front door so they can leave, they're really more excited yet.
Well, I do that so that we're not interrupted.
Oh, I see.
With crazy.
No, but they're in here trying to get out is what I was mentioning. Go on with the show, please. Carry on. We can discuss.
I'm going to introduce our guest.
Why don't you? It's about
time. We have the honor and the privilege to have in our studio today Sacreah Becerra of Inspirah, and she does inspirational art, and it speaks to your heart, your soul, your mind, your spirit. I love you, and I love your expression of creativity and love. You capture such amazing things. So you capture the heart of so many times people have a hard time expressing themselves. So there, I couldn't wait. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm really, really happy to be here. You two are so funny. I had to hold my laughter back. Thank you.
Wow. I haven't seen you that excited since they took your picture out of the post office.
Well, that's because they realized they were wrong and it was actually brilliant. I'm brilliant.
Well,
Sacreah, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes.
Sure. Thank you. So, yes, I am an artist. I've been an artist, I'd say, since I was a child. Fell in love with color and shapes and drawing and all, things that could express my creativity. But then later on, I graduated from college with a degree in art, but entered the business world and was in corporate, environments for about 13 years. So in the last few years, I've returned to my creative roots, which has just been like a homecoming.
You bet.
And yeah, it's like where I need to be, where I'm meant to be. I paint. And I make art that is vibrant and colorful and with the intention of inspiring people. And like you said, it touches people's hearts because it comes from my heart. So it's definitely a language of the heart.
A language of the heart. That's a neat thing.
I would like to get that out of you once in a while, Mr.
What's that?
Language of the heart. Yes. So something bright, cheerful, colorful.
It passed right by.
Cheerful, colorful.
Right.
I think that you need pieces of this in your own home. I'm convinced.
I can do that.
That's it.
That's it. She can do that. Yeah. Okay.
Where do you get your inspiration from?
That is a great question because I get it from multiple different sources. I always start any kind of creative process with painting by getting quiet and connecting with what I call a source and connecting with that deep well of creativity. I live in the country and nature is a huge part of my creative inspiration. My girlfriends, my female friendships are a big part of my source of inspiration as well. And I follow artists that inspire me. So, inspiration for art is something that comes from all parts of my life. It's not any one thing. And, so those are just a few areas that I source my art from, or my creativity and inspiration from.
I think that's really neat.
That is neat. So, and she lives up in Yelm, where there's a lot of beauty, the mountain,
Yelm's a gorgeous
trees.
area.
Yeah, it is pretty out there.
It's really a spectacular place if you're an artist, for sure.
I love going into an office space that doesn't just have white walls or, an off-white wall and boring or something that, it's a canned, I appreciate the canned photo, but you can make such an amazing space for your clientele and for people and your home for that matter. Something that's more inspirational. So can you speak to how you transform offices into creative works of art that speak?
Sure. So I agree 100%. I think that your environment reflects a part of you and it also feeds you. It's something that comes from you and it also feeds into you. So whatever you put around you, however you dress, whatever it is you do in your environment, It is a connection to who you are. And as you said, art brings to life business environments. So when I walk into a space and a business environment, and if there's art that can cause me to think or question or just feel like a little bit, perked up and excited or, inspired, then I know it's doing something that it's meant to be doing. I have clients that have purchased my artwork for their business environments, and they do it because it resonates with their brand values, which is usually about wanting to uplift their patients or their clients, whatever, the different businesses, and to, give them some kind of nourishment on a deeper level and to, like I said, align with their values. So did that kind of answer your question? I'm not quite sure.
Very much so. Yes.
No, it did.
There's nothing worse than going into a dentist's office and all they got on the wall is somebody's mouth open with teeth. You know what I mean? It'd be nice to have art and stuff like that.
Bill goes to the zoo to get his teeth worked on. You're like, oh my goodness.
Just I'd mention it.
No, I think that there's a huge value, and when I've studied art, it has such a pivotal impact on our society.
Yes, it does.
That I think that for most, if they're not introduced to the beauty of what art can produce or the feelings or the emotions it can create, I feel like we've robbed our society of some form of enlightenment, if I can use that type of terms. I was introduced to art young. My parents would take me to the different exhibits and different things like that. So we learned young an appreciation for the creative side of humanity. And so what's the
I just said, this is a side of you that we have not projected on the show.
There's so much to discover about that.
Yeah, I know, yes.
There's just beauty everywhere. You just have to find it.
Oh, okay.
And I think to speak to that, I think what art that has depth and value, like real value, is able to connect with the humanity in people, like that very human experience. We all know pain. We all, know love. I mean, there's this range of experience as humans that we all can, at different times in our lives, experience. But good art also, I think, connects with the human spirit, which is like the possibilities, the potentials, the greatness that maybe is untapped. And to me, that's what art is a medium for, is to bridge these very real practical aspects of being a human with these deeper aspirations and these deeper meanings and purposefulness that I call the human spirit, and kind of bridge them and get them talking to each other and feeding one another. And so that is like part of the energy that I connect it with when I create my art. And I totally believe, and I've had customers tell me that the art keeps feeding them. It just like continues to give. It's not just on the wall and it doesn't become flat. It continues to radiate that kind of energy. A lot of it comes from the color, from the compositions, from the messaging. But I honestly feel it's just the energy that goes into it that continues. So.
Boy, that's something. Yeah. Here I thought those guys just stood back and took paint and put it into balloons and then put a bed sheet on the wall and just yuck.
That doesn't sound like a bad idea. That sounds like fun, actually.
It does sound like fun. We could get off our own frustrations with that in a healthy way.
Yeah.
So when are you going to start?
I don't think so. But I did know a lady that used to do that. Yeah. Actually, it was an artist that did that.
So can you describe some other aspects of your art? Because you mentioned vibrant colors. Describe some of your funnest pieces.
Sure. So I think the most prominent thing about my art is my passion for and the use of color, of vibrant colors. And I attribute that to my Latino heritage. It courses through my veins. I can't paint something that isn't bright and bold. Maybe at some point I will, but right now this seems to be what happens for me. Some of the funner pieces. I do a lot of abstract paintings, and I also paint these figures on them that are not realistic. They're more suggestive or kind of archetypal figures that are symbolic, and they speak to different qualities in human experience. I use a lot of symbols that I don't intellectually get too caught up in understanding, because I understand them on another level and I know that they're conveying some kind of meaning. And some of my art also have words, messages that seem to complement the painting. And those are like the most characteristic aspects of my work. The abstract painting, the bold colors, the archetypes, symbols, and words, messages. And
Isn't
together
that something? You know, you never think of this stuff when you look at a painting. For instance, let me just bounce something off her for just a moment. Just go ahead and write your little notes, your lunch menu, whatever. What do you think about an elephant that has white stripes?
I knew he was going to go there. I knew it.
You're supposed to be writing your lunch menu.
Well,
now I want you to picture a big African elephant, by the way.
I can
They're
totally
bigger.
see it. It's there.
Can you see it?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. No problem.
Why would you have white stripes on it is the question I wanted to know.
Why wouldn't you?
Well, I don't know. I just didn't think it doesn't sound natural to have an elephant with white stripe. That's a zebra, you see.
Yeah. So that...
What symbolically though would that, as an artist, what would that bring out to you? Actually, in the let's say in a beautiful jungle type setting with a big elephant, walking across with white stripes, what would that speak to you as somebody that's really talented with color and messages and art?
So I would probably dive into kind of the more abstract nature of it and what it would symbolize to me. So zebras are totally about uniqueness. Each one has like their unique, like their fingerprint. Their prints are totally original. And elephants are incredibly intelligent, incredibly like empathic and community oriented. And so I don't know. I would just speak that there's like a message being spoken to about those qualities. So that's what it would say to me.
That's what it would say to you. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, I'm still. We've only been going over this for 3 years, so I'm getting it. Another 3-4 years, I'll understand.
So tell me, am I anywhere in the neighborhood?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. So the strength of the
I agree
elephant.
with that,
Yeah, the strength.
The
intelligence,
zebra,
strength, pattern.
They're so
disruptor of normal. There is not an elephant that is zebra striped, so it speaks to disrupting that. Okay. Elephants are loyal, and they have a brilliant memory.
They're so smart.
And
that leaves me out.
Also, when you look at anything, especially in business, I mean, it's no different than we're looking at a beautiful art project. How do you approach that? Well, it'll always be bite by bite, step by step.
Yeah.
So that's the other symbolization behind the elephant with the zebra stripe.
Oh, okay. Well, I just wanted to hear, because it's so unusual the way she projects and gets so ecstatically excited about color and everything. And unfortunately, we're just audio, so you can't see how she really feels about this. But I think people really miss the point of pictures and color and changes and how the environment is affected by it.
Yeah. And I won't get started on this or get too deep into this, but I think a lot of it has to do with our educational system. I mean, when there are budget cuts, the arts get cut. So kids are not being exposed. They're not being, generally speaking, I'm talking probably speaking to more of public education, they're not exposed or don't get an opportunity to get a very in-depth education in the arts to understand the many aspects of what art is and the humanities and so
and how it goes together.
Yeah.
Well, you help, aren't you? You're involved with a nonprofit, or that you help with a nonprofit?
Yes. So there's a part of my company, it's the Art for Business Interiors, that I contribute to an organization it's a nonprofit Seattle-based organization called Art with Heart, and they help kids overcome traumatic life experiences through art, creative expression. So they have these wonderful books that have been collaborated and made by illustrators and therapists and other professionals in probably psychologists in that field, and they help kids